Hello and welcome everyone, my name is Meepolis and this is Literally Graphic. And today we are looking at Black Heroes of the Wild West with writing and art by James Otis Smith. Another art video thanks to NetGalley, so disclaimer, I received this ebook for free in exchange for an honest review. That out of the way, Black Heroes of the Wild West is being published by Toon Graphics on September 15th, so just around the corner. And today's booktuber is Book Girl Magic. Definitely go check out her channel for solid booktube content. No real warnings, this book is pretty all ages. And according to the promo material, because Smith doesn't really have any public bio pages, James Otis Smith is the illustrator of Showtime at the Apollo, the epic tale of Harlem's legendary theater, and a multi-talented artist whose work spans illustration, comics, motion graphics, and video. This is his first book as both author and illustrator. Smith lives in Brooklyn, New York. Flipping it over, the description is as follows. True stories of the Wild West, but not like you've seen in the movies. This graphic novel by James Otis Smith celebrates the extraordinary true tales of three black heroes who took control of their destinies and stood up for their communities in the Old West. Born into slavery in Tennessee, Mary Fields became famous as Stagecoach Mary, a cigar-chomping, card-playing coach driver who never missed a delivery. Bass Reeves, the first black Deputy US Marshal west of the Mississippi, was one of the wiliest lawmen in the territories, bringing thousands of outlaws to justice with his smarts. Bob Lemmons lived to be 99 years old and was so good with horses that the wild mustangs on the plains of Texas took him for one of their own. As I already mentioned in my latest Black Comics TBR, I could tell immediately that this was going to remind me of the Strange Fruit series by Joel Christian Gill, which also does short stories for a more all-ages audience about lesser-known black figures in American history. This book was definitely more focused on a singular type of story, namely the, quote, Wild West and cowboys. There was also a lot more photographs of black people in the West before and after the illustrated comics, which I thought was a nice addition. The art was good, but not super memorable. I assume the Toon series has some constraints on how they want each book to look. The only thing that felt a bit different from some other all-ages books was the inclusion of quite a few silent scene-setting shots, which was nice. As far as gender went, I really appreciated that of the three stories included, we got Stagecoach Mary. As the first volume of Strange Fruit and many narratives of the West revolve around assumed male people, sexuality was not a focus of the book, even heterosexuality, which was nice. Race was obviously a focus of the book, namely the history of black people in the West. As a white settler person on Turtle Island, I am certainly not the be-all end-all to be talking about this particular intersection, but I did try to note the way that indigenous people were represented. Passively was the word that came to mind throughout most of the book, although it did feel like the side characters that came up were depicted in a respectful way that didn't flirt with caricature, which certainly is not always the case. That said, the text and photograph section at the very end did dig into more detail about how the, quote, Wild West was actively destroying indigenous life in the West. So as I said, I can't approve this book or not, but it seemed pretty good. Left me hungry for an adult take on the way blackness and indigeneity have intersected and do intersect. Assuming books continue to be published, it'll happen eventually. I didn't really notice any disability representation. Everyone seemed pretty able-bodied. I think I'll rate this book 3 out of 5 stars. Bye y'all, keep reading and resist white supremacy. And as always, Literally Graphic is recorded on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and Anishinaabe people, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat Nation. I live here because of British colonization, indigenous genocide, and more geographically specific, Treaty 13, also known as the Toronto Purchase, which was finalized in 1805 between representatives of the Crown and certain Mississauga peoples. This treaty was a lie and has since been broken many times over. Saying so reflects only my own small steps towards knowing the truth and does nothing for reconciliation.